Thanks, everybody. A few years ago, some friends at work decided we were going to put together a softball team. And we really didn't ask many questions when we put together the team as far as like important questions like, hey, do you know how to play softball? But we all liked having fun, so we showed up to play softball. And we all showed up and we signed up for like this intramural league that they have around here, the Westchester Sports and Social Club, I think it was. We showed up, and clearly other people take softball much more seriously than our group took softball, because we didn't really have bats. One guy on our team had a dollar store glove that I'm pretty sure a softball couldn't fit in. So we just hoped no one hit the ball to him. And then as we started to play in the first couple games, we realized, oh, no one has any softball skills at all either. One guy on third base, I pitched, one guy on third base was throwing the ball to first base, and I had a duck. As the pitcher, that's not good. It went in between first base and home plate. We were horrible. And we didn't win a single game, except for one that we won by forfeit, which was a big day for us. Because not only did we win, but we also didn't have to play, which eventually we just kind of didn't like softball that much. But being one of these leagues where you pay money, they want you to make sure that you get your money's worth out of it. So everybody made the playoffs, including the team that didn't win any games. That was us. So we made the playoffs. And for some reason, you play one game a weekend the entire season, and for some reason, the entire playoffs all take place in one day. So we're in the first game early in the morning. We show up, and when I tell you we're terrible, we are terrible. I remember Bill Cosby had a joke about how going to Little League games, you see a lot of grand slam bunts, and that's something that happened to us a lot, a grand slam bunt. We were really bad. One girl went to catch a ball once, and we thought she caught it, but it just hit her glove off with the ball in it. It was really, I can't express to you how horribly awful we were for weeks on end. And we still had a good time, but we were awful. So we show up for our first game of the playoffs, and somehow we get a lead. And we win that game, because that other team was also low-seeded, so clearly not very good either. And this was the play-in game to the playoffs. So we won a game, which was the greatest thing that ever happened, but also kind of disappointed us because we were all going to be out on the field longer than we had sort of planned when we scheduled our weekend. So then we had to play a second game. And in the second game, we played against this guy who took this league very, very seriously. And he was one of the people who ran the entire, now I feel bad that I named the organization, but he ran the entire organization, right? But he was in the league, which I thought that was questionable right there. I'm well, that's why we're losing, because we're awful. And at one point in this game, at one point the week before in the game against him, when we're losing about 10-2, he calls out the fact that we're using illegal bats. No one hit the ball out of the infield on our team. I don't think it mattered. No one was going to die from the velocity of how we hit the ball. So this guy hated us. And we started playing him, and he's this guy who took the game very, very seriously. And we all just laughed and laughed. But somehow, we got a little bit of a lead against him in the second game, and it started to pour down rain. Pour to the point where people were playing, and if they swung and hit the ball, they couldn't get out of the batter's box. You would fall down in swampy mud. But because the league didn't really want to they didn't have this field for another day, the games had to happen. So we kept playing. But it sort of became the greatest thing because it became physically impossible to really run around the bases. So we won that game. And at that point, there was a break where there was this other game to see who would play us in the finals. But it was pouring down rain, so we were all really excited that maybe it would all just be canceled. So many of us went to a bar and drank during that game. I don't want to say I used performance-enhancing drugs, but I drank along with other people. And we came back out for the next game because the sun came out. And this team took the game very seriously as well. And miraculously, we were in this game up until the end, which became very nerve-wracking because we were terrible. The only way everything went right. The only way we won this game was balls were hit directly at the people who could catch. terrible errors by the other team. That, like, it was like Bad News Bears. It was like a Disney movie. It really was a Disney movie that no one would ever believe, except now I'm telling you, and I swear this happened. So we get a lead in that game, and we get up like, I want to say it was like 4-3, and we're beating this team. They have like the bases loaded, and it's the bottom of whatever the last inning is in softball. I don't know what it is, Luann. I'm sorry. I think it's 7. I'm not sure. Might have been 5. But they hit a ball, and like we had 2 decent guys on our team who were like had some athletic ability and could run, and they both run at this one ball, and the one guy like makes this dramatic catch, and we won the entire softball league. Oh, I totally ruined the story. The umpire for the last game was the terrible guy that we beat in an earlier game, who hated us and called us out on our bats the week before. So like, we thought there was no chance we would ever win this game, but he was the umpire, and you could just see how much it annoyed him and how little he sort of like respected the underdog, which we were, and which I always think of when we're talking about respect. But we won, and it was the greatest thing to pose for photos in these shirts that said the Westchester champions, while all these people looked on so angry and disappointed. And we won 3 games that season, aside from our forfeit, and they all just happened to take place on the most important day.
All right.